Hi, Julie Torrens here. So I've got my Amazon Basics watercolor book. They call it a book. It's really a tablet. The smallest size they have is the 9 by 12. It's 140 pounds. And I cut it down to 8.5 by 11 because that's the size I need. This is cold press, but it's not a real bumpy cold press. When you think of cold press, think of cold, goosebumps, bumpy, and then hot press is smooth. This is kind of between the two. Then I have some watercolor pictures that we've been working on. I have my Daniel Smith watercolor paints, but I brought you down even closer so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm not going to be able to show you everything all the time, but I want you to, I think the brush work and the hand work is what we need to see most. So this is a sheet that we're going to be working on, but not to start. Here's one that I want to finish this part, but again, we won't start there. So I've got my 8.5 by 11, and I have two sheets here. And here's where we're going to get started. Now, this paper, I believe, is a cellulose paper, which is kind of a wood pulp paper compared to cotton. I have a variety of brushes. Use what you have. I'm not going to go over each brush. I don't even know if I'm going to use each brush. I have sprayed a little water, and I did clean my pan. If you noticed, the reason why I cleaned it, and you'll say, well, Julie, you said that this paint is still good. It is. However, I'm kind of changing gears into some different colors for one thing. And for another thing is it was almost gone. Everything in here was almost gone. So that's a good time to clean it. Now you may be seeing some stains. Some pigments are gonna stain, especially anything that has the word phthalo, like phthalo blue. They tend to stain. Don't worry about it. Now, some people will say, well, you can take a magic eraser and get that off. You can. But then the magic eraser will also sort of, oh, what can I say? It etches. At the microscopic level, it etches. I do have my 2 pots of water. It's a 1 pot thing. I'll show you. But it's got 2 chambers. So I've got always 2 water sources, and this is for watercolor. I've got a paper towel to dab my brush off on, and I'm going to get started. I need to make some winter flowers. So I'm grabbing some lavender. Now, can you see? I don't think so. Well, I grabbed some lavender, and I'm putting it in here because I want it to be watered down a bit. And I think I'm just going to use this color to start with as is, but I want more water in it. There we go. Because we're going to start out light, and we're going to be making some winter flowers. Okay, so how do I start my winter flowers? We're going to get started and then we'll chat. So I start the type of flower that I'm making now with an X. I just start with an X. And then I start to make this long and skinny petal-like. And this is pretty watered down, which is what I want. So I'm just reshaping. And now I'm going to put a cross. All the same color, and use what color you want. I like this lavender color. There we go. And yeah, some are a little bit thicker, some are a little bit thinner. That's fine. Now let's do another one. I'm going to move this up now. There. So I'm going to start out with an X. And I'm going to, now these are going to lighten up, or as you'll hear people say, shift. Shift is when the paint dries and it changes color. Now this one is a little bit thicker. The petals are a little bit thicker than the one I did at the beginning. That's okay. That's fine. Okay, one more. And I am designing these for cutting out. Okay, this time, don't know why, but I started with the cross. That's fine. And now I'm gonna make my X. And here we go. Just widening them out a little bit. I don't expect these flowers to look alike, but to me, this is going to be 3 flowers of the same family, if that makes sense to you. And I've got a margin here, and I can save that for leaves. All right, I'm going to start another one. Now, I'm going to leave that pan of the lavender just as it is, and I'm going into the aquamarine blue. So I'm just grabbing aquamarine. And to that, I am going to add some of the lavender. And now I want to water this down. Now this is going to be a little different, not huge, but a little different in color. And I'm going to start up here. And I'm keeping in mind enough room to cut between. I want to cut these out just as much as you would if you get one of my winter collections, which will be out soon. But I wouldn't put a collection out if it's not something that I myself would use. And even if I would say, well, I'm not big on, and just name a style, it doesn't mean that it's awful. It just means that it's not something I use a lot, so I'm not familiar, so I don't feel like I would be qualified to necessarily make something in a style. I'll give you an example, steampunk. I love steampunk, but at this time, I don't feel like I have a grasp enough of what that would look like. So I'm not going to be putting out my own steampunk collection anytime soon, certainly not in a hand watercolored type arrangement. Now, these look very much alike, but I promise you, if you put 2 of these together on the same piece of paper, like, you know, if you cut them out, and they'll look different. Not shockingly different, but they won't look identical in color. Okay. Good. All right. I know I said down here I'm going to put some leaves. Changed my mind. I'm allowed to. I'm going to put a flower that is sideways. We don't always see flowers head on. So when I do that, I'm just going to make sort of half. Like this. And then I'm going to maybe make just a couple short ones. Like this. So it's going to be overall more of an oval than a circle shape. And the leaves that are closest to me need to be longer than the ones up top. Okay, real good. Let's make one more set, but let's change up the color a little bit. Let's change it up a lot. I'm going into a color that's called Rhodonite Genuine. Rhodonite is a gem, semi-precious, comes like in a rock. and it's a palish pink with a black vein in it. But I'm just going to be using this rhodonite paint as is, and I'm just going to add some more water. Okay, and let's put some of the same flower, just a different color. And again, I want to remember that I'm wanting to cut these out eventually, so I want to leave room between. How's that look? So the reason why I'm doing this is I had asked in my last video if you wanted to see more watercolor work, let me know in the comments. And I got comments, I got messages, I got all kinds saying, yes, please, more watercolor. Or else I always love it when you do watercolor, that kind of thing. Well, that to me is affirmation that I can go ahead and do some more. And no, I'm not worried that I'm showing all my secrets and no one will buy my printables, because I just don't think that's going to happen. Because, you know, we all have our own style, even if we're doing the same thing, making the same flowers. People have said that if they see my work without my name on it, they can spot it. They don't have to think about whose florals are those, which is really a compliment to me. I really like that. But I know that it's like handwriting. I'm going to add just a little more of that rhodonite to my pan here. I didn't change the color or anything like that. But let's put a sideways one in here as well. Because of people's different types of printers, I need to leave a margin around the edge. All right, I like that. Now, I'm going to take my same rhodonite and I'm going to add just a touch of my white. Now, my white is gouache. Gouache is, I'm trying to make it so you can see, gouache is almost like a tempera. And you can see that really pinked this up. Now that needs more water. Definitely needs more water. Okay. And trying to line up my paper so that you can see. Starting out with an X. Now across. And yeah, there's a lot of repetition in this. So people are asking me things like, how is it that wherever you want your brush to go, it seems to go? Well, the simple answer is practice. But it's not necessarily practicing with paint and brush, although that is part of it, because that's how you learn what your paints will do, and everybody's paints are going to act different. And I want you to use the paints you have. I let you know what paints I'm using, but not because I want you to run out and buy them. Use what you have. It'll be fine. But this is also where your 10-minute or less journal, where you're doing some doodling and just getting that whole hand-eye coordination and the the links between your brain and your arm, and getting those signals for what's in your brain to transfer all the way down your arm to your work, your paper. Okay, get the last one here. Okay, there's our first layer. And I really don't see myself having enough room for more flowers. Plus, I kind of like the idea of where we're at with this. I am going to go back into the plain old lavender and give this one of these half flowers. Can you see that? I think so. There we go. Okay, I think that's a very good start. Now I'm going to do something that's going to surprise you. This is just a hair products bottle, and it's got a nice fine mist, and I just have plain old water in it. I'm going to give these a mist, a very little mist, but I am going to mist them. That's it. Some of them got more, some of them got less, and I'm just going to let the water do its thing, and we're going to set this aside to dry. Okay, let's bring up another sheet. Okay, so what other winter flowers can we think about? I want to do more in that pink family, but not the exact pink. So I have this wisteria. I'm going to go with some of that, which is really kind of a purpley pink. Maybe some would think it's a mauve color, and I'm not saying they're wrong. I guess I'm not that familiar with what a wisteria looks like. I mean, people have sent me pictures of them, but I've never seen them in real life to know this color, if it truly is a wisteria or not. But I'm going to start out with that. And I'm going to make, let me see get you where you can see. Okay, so I'm going to start out with like a kind of a crescent shape. And then I'm going to make the petals on top shorter, but they're going to get just a little bit longer as they fall this way. And here the same thing. And then I'm just going to give it a little loop there. Kind of a spidery looking thing. All right, let's make a couple more of these. Different sizes. Can you see? I think so. I'm going to start with this one as a bigger crescent. And now these are a little bit shorter. And then I'm going to just put one of those at the bottom, okay? This is not hard. Don't tell me this is hard. But it takes practice. A little shorter. Shorter. And one going this way. All right. Let's do another one. Oh, this part. I feel like I'm starting with a huge crescent, but then as the flower builds, I can see not really. I haven't added any more paint or any more water. I'm just using that mix that you saw me make. All right. And now I think with this one, I'm just going to make a couple of bud shapes, which is just a teardrop really. But I'm not going to necessarily fill it all the way in. And I want to leave some room for leaves between. Okay, let's do another set of those. I'm just going to go back into the wisteria. I called it lavender at some point. That was a mistake. This has all been wisteria. All right. Now to this one, I'm going to add some of that rhodonite. And just kind of more of a rose color. I'm trying to think about having enough paint in this well to do as many flowers as I want so I don't have to mix more, but I may have to mix more. We'll see. I'm going to add a little more of the wisteria because it got awfully pink on me. There we go. All right, now water. There, all right. Now that's the pan I'm going to be tipping out of until further notice, okay? All right, here we go. I'm going to start with another arch. And then I'm going to make it a little smaller, smaller, like that. I left more room because I want to make these maybe just a little bit bigger. I'm just wanting to have variety on the sheet and a variety in the collection. Put one of those on the bottom. Okay, now I think I'm going to go ahead with this color and the one I'm doing, and I'm going to make one like this. Just repeating the one that we started with. So, who are you watching? I have a recommendation if you're interested, and it's Lindsay Wyrick, and her channel is The Frugal Crafter. She has her Christmas gift ideas out, and yes, they're great for gifts, and I'm not taking away from that, but also it's just a nice collection of things if you're like, you know, I'm just kind of getting started in this whole mixed media thing and not really sure which way to go. It can just be a nice hint of maybe some things that you would like. This one got a little close to that one. It's okay. There'll be room. Okay. And let's take this color, make a few buds. And I think what I'm going to do, pardon me, I've got the lavender here. I can add just a touch more paint. And I'm going to add a couple of buds over here. this, you know, to go with the other sheet. Okay. All right. Moving on. I'm thinking about maybe a different kind of a flower. Let's see. Let's switch brushes. Let me get my small square, get it wet, and I'm going into, let's see, this same one that's the rhodonite, which is right here. So this well was just plain old rhodonite. And I want to get a good amount of water in there. And I'm just going to use this straight. And I'm going to make some littler flowers-ish. And I'm just doing 1, 2, 1, 2, kind of comma shapes. Yep. And not exact by any means. One more. Okay, now I'm going to grab some of the aquamarine, which is right here. Now these are not the pinks, but the blues are colors that I have already put in the collection, and that's on purpose. I think it will give harmony, but I just want to add a little blue center and just kind of let that spread and go and do what it wants to do. And I think now I'm going to add some leaves because I don't have any leaves on the sheet. I do have some space. Okay, now leaves. Honestly, I can pick any green I want. I'm going to go with this green apatite. I don't know. I never say it right. Genuine. Bring it over here. Now to this, I'm going to add some white, which is that white gouache. It has all the properties of watercolor, but it is not transparent. And I'm going to add that. Yep. Because I want this to be a pale shade like cold winter. Okay. Let's start with some leaves with this, and I'm just going to keep using this square brush, and I'm going to start like this, teardrop, make a point, and then I'm just going to add some little bumps on the side, just like that. And let's make another one. Just made some bumps. Bring that to a point. Are they perfect? No. It doesn't matter. Good. And again, let's bring it where you can see. Teardrop. Bump, bump, bump. Bring this to a point. There's the bottom. I didn't put any stems. Okay. Now, I'm going to go into that apatite green, the exact color that I started with, without the white. And I'm just going to add a few little dots and just kind of let it, I almost reached for more, but then I thought, no, I really don't want it any stronger. Okay, that's good. I think I'm going to just take this apatite green and I'm putting it in another well like that. And I'm going to add a lot of water to this. That's why they call it, oh, it's all right. Add some water. And I'm just going to go ahead and make similar leaves shapes. And yeah, this is watery. That's fine. It's going to dry with just a little different variations, which I think are great. And I don't think the bumps that I'm putting in here are going to be challenging to cut out. All right. And then maybe I'll make a leaf that's kind of folded. So no bumps on this side. All right. Now I'm going to take that white, just plain white, and put some dots in. I don't know if you can see, but it's activating. It's there. It's going to dry down different. Okay. Now, these are wetter than the previous sheet I was working on. I'm going to go ahead and stick with this brush, and I'm going in to this wisteria that I added white. I'm going to get some more wisteria. I'm going to get some more white. And I am just going to make what I just call kind of ploppy marks. And I'm just going to do like this plop, 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 plop. Plop. I put my hand in the leaf. Not going to hurt. It's going to give it a different texture. Right there I did. Yep. Okay, I like that. Now, I am going to, oh boy, my hand really got in here. Can you see that? It's okay. All right, I'm not going to spray this one. I'm just going to let this one be, just for variety. No rule or whatever. All right, now, coming back to this one, now that it's had a chance to dry. And this is exactly how I do it when you're not here with me. All right, starting out here, and that is the aquamarine, I believe. And if I don't remember right, I don't care. It'll be fine. Aquamarine, water, and I want this one to be a little less watery. I'm just darkening it by having a little less water. Now I'm going to go between, and I'm just going to kind of go in the middle between. I'm just letting the first set of petals dictate where I put the second pair of petals or the second group. All right. Oh, you know what? I think this was lavender. It's all right. Totally fine. I really like this combination, to tell you the truth. Alrighty. So when I make a set like these, I don't use every color in the palette. I limit myself because I think that's what gives it cohesiveness, what makes it look like one belongs to the other, is when everything, even if I mix colors, but I'm still mixing from the same group. I'm just adding some more of that aquamarine and a little more water. And here we go again. Hang on. All right. All right. If you can hear geese, or if you think you hear geese, you can. I know this I made lavender with aquamarine. I'm just going back in with the same what I have. Are you seeing flowers kind of form? I hope so. And if I like, I can see I left a little gap. That's fine. Leave it. You don't have to fill in every gap. Those little natural occurring marks or lack of marks, that's fine. People will think, wow, she's a genius. She added that little glimmer here of light, or a little drop of water there. And it's all just happenstance. All right, I'm going to add a little more aquamarine again. And I got to tell you, I could do this for hours. I find this very relaxing, very enjoyable. I just love it. This paper I'm using is not particularly expensive. The paints, I didn't pay a lot because they were on some kind of a little bit of a sale, which Daniel Smith's paints are not often on sale, if they are at all. But I got them from Blick, and I bought it as a set. This was a 12 color set, and then I just added a couple colors like the white gouache just to round it out, like this aquamarine, which I just think you need in whatever set you're buying, whatever their version of aquamarine is. Okay, now look at the blue ones compared to the red. Aren't they just jumping at you, so happy? All right, so these were the rhodonite. So I'm going right into the rhodonite. Not going to add any more color. Not adding white. I'm just, when I say I'm not adding a different color, but I'm not going to make it as watery as the first go round. But I have 2 rows of flowers here, so I'm mixing up a good amount. And here we go with the red, or rhodonite. Now this time, I do believe I have the same color going. But do you mind the blue? I don't. Even though I started out with lavender, I think it looks fine. And I'm just going in between. And if you want to repeat the X and cross type pattern, you can do that. I'll show you what I mean in the next one. So if you feel like doing like the X and all that helped you with the spacing, then just go ahead and go all the way across like this, and you're going to get the same kind of an effect. There's no reason you can't do it this way. Do what is easier for you. You may look at this one and think, that's the best of them all. You know, just try different things. And I'm just letting the first one, the first row of petals, be my guide for these sort of sideways. This one really spread out with the water, and again, that's fine. I just wanted some variation, and that's what it gave me. I'm just adding some more of this rhodonite and trying to bring it up to about the same ratio of water. But if it's not the same, it's okay. I know it's darker than what I started with. Some of these flowers may look more crisp. Some of these flowers may look more blurry. That's fine. When you put them in your work, then it'll look like, well, this one's got the sun on it. This one doesn't. This one has a shadow on it. This one has a leaf covering it partway. You know what I mean? There's just all kinds of different ways. You may take one of these and just cut it in half, or have it half on a page, half off a page. All good. You're going to be using them in different ways, and you're going to want a variety. You're not going to want 8 pink flowers identical, 8 blue flowers identical, each one. No. You're going to want different shapes, different shading. And you can see I'm not come in here and said, okay, now I'm going to shade this. They're shading themselves between the different pigments and the way the minerals fall in and out of the paint. This rhodonite is very granulating. It'll have little bits of that darker color and lighter color when it dries, because the different mineral parts sink into the paper different. So that's how that all works. Okay, look. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I think it's coming along great. How are we doing for time? Oh, we're doing good. All right, let's make some sprigs, okay? So this is that apatite green that's right here. And I'm going to add some of this aquamarine blue. Again, a color I've already used, and I'm just giving it a different color, a different look. And I'm going to start out with just a stick, which I am going to make, or a stem, I guess. I'm making it just a little heavier than I would normally, because again, you've got to cut it out, and when you cut it out, you need something that can hold on. And I'm just going to put a leaf at the top. I make a little stem, bring the leaf out, make a little stem, bring the leaf out. I leave room again for cutting, but I'll tell you, these add so much. This leaf is a little smaller. That's all right. I'm just making a way for the cutting space between this and one of the flowers. Maybe I'll make this one also look kind of like it's heading towards the back of the stem. and make these come more towards us. There's a sprig. Isn't that pretty? And like I said, I know they're a bit more to cut out, no doubt, but they add so much. They really do, more than I realized until I cut one out and used it. And yeah, I've got leaves heading in different directions, and that's fine. Never know when a little breeze might be showing up. And the different angles that you put in, even by accident, give the plant a different look, so that it, even if you didn't mean for it to look like it's heading south or north, but it ends up that way anyway. All right, there's another sprig. Isn't this fun? Tell me in the comments if you're having fun. I am. I sure am. Let me know if you're going to give it a try. I mean, you can see I am not putting some kind of real special twist on all this where you can say, well, you know, she's got that handmade brush from Israel that nobody else can buy. And no. This brush, Simply Simmons, that is one of the Blick brands. And if you go on the Blick site, they have a place that you can check mark that's like clearance. I find most of my brushes in there, and I've not been disappointed with any of my Simply Simmons brushes. I like them a lot. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and start squeezing a few leaves here, there, here, there. I'm making a kind of a heart shape. Little narrower. Are these perfect hearts? Far from it. Doesn't matter. Now, to cut out watercolor paper can be a challenge. I've done it. I have definitely done it. But it can be quite the challenge. And that's what got me to get my printer with a scanner so that I can scan the watercolors on the watercolor paper and then cut them out that way. And it is a lot easier. I'm just going to add a little water to my paint. I didn't add any more pigment. Let's get just one little bit heavier leaf. And all of these are the same single color. All right. Now, I think I can squeeze a few leaves in. I've got that with white here, and it's just this color with white. So I'm just gonna mix some more of that up. So it's that apatite with the white. And I'm just gonna add where I can see that I have a little space. I'm just gonna add a couple of leaves. They're handy. They really are handy. Now, we're probably not going to get through all this down to the inking, but I'll show you some inking. But we've been at this, would you believe, for all but 50 minutes already. Well, we did get a lot done. All right, I don't think I'm going to squeeze any more leaves in, at least not right now. I'm going to set this one aside. I'm going to bring this one up, and I'm going to add just a few more. Now, here I have that wisteria. Now the wisteria well that I have has a little white in it, but it is really almost gone. So I'm just putting the wisteria right here. This wisteria color, I believe, already has some white in it. It is not a real transparent color, but it's more transparent than you'd think. But I'm just going to go into this, and I'm going to add some Rose of Sharon. It's called Rose of Ultramarine. There we go. Now I'm going to add some more water. Okay. And let's get a few of these, get a few more petals on these. And I am just going between. I am starting in the middle. And I don't even mind adding a little extra one. So see, like I went in the middle to the center, between these two to the center. And I just keep doing that, letting their shape be my guide. And then I'm adding one more, but you don't have to, whatever you want. Do it again. Now, if you want another video where I'm going to be inking these up, let me know in the comments. And while you're at the comments, please hit the like. And if you've been with me for over 50 minutes, well, today is the perfect day to subscribe. My channel's new. I need subscribers. And winters is here in where I live in Western Michigan. So I might be here a little bit more because I can't get to work because it's so snowy. Okay, remember these buds? I'm just going to add one little stripe to all of them. There, all the pink ones or pinkish ones. All right, I think I'm going to start low here. Can you see? And I'm just going around and adding some more petals from the center out. This one I made a flat out one. And I'm just going to go between. Now, if you say, well, you're working faster now, I am. But I feel like you've seen enough of the process in slow motion that you can just handle me repeating it a little bit faster now. I'm getting low on paint in this well, but I know that I have enough I believe I have enough to finish the project here. You know, when you start to work a little bit faster and a little more haphazardly, sometimes that's my best work. Seriously, when I'm not so stiff. When I put my hand further back on my brush handle and just kind of let the brush lead the way. Okay? All right. I am liking these. Okay, these. I want these to be kind of statement-y. So I'm going to come in now with a color we've already used. I'm going to go with lavender, which is right here in the pan, if you can see the pan at all. This is the lavender. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of outline them, but I'm going to go on top. I'm not going to go around the edge. I'm going to go right on the flower with an outline. Like I'm touching it. Just like that. That's good. And as loose as I can. Now you may say these are looking crazy. Good. I want them to look a little crazy. If you've seen any of my kits, I always have some more crazy flowers in them, where you're not wondering if that flower is a make-believe flower or representing something real. You know there's nothing on earth growing like that. That's okay. I love it. All right. Now, while I've got this lavender on my brush, I'm just going to go ahead and put a little touch on some of those buds. I'm even going to go in the pinkish ones and just give it just a touch. All right. Good and good. And let this go. All right, inking. I'm going to bring this one up. Now, we didn't make these exact. These are kind of similar. And I did go in with a white Posca and even put some more marks on it. I also splattered it with white. So can you see kind of, I'm trying to show you maybe a couple of details of what it looks like. All right, so I'm going to grab, I want a black lining type pen. Okay, this is a Stettler, and this is bone dry. Stettler Pigment Liner 05, very fine. And I'm going to start by just doodling, so I can see I put some little white circles here, and I'm just going to outline them. And I'm just going to do one flower to start so that you can sort of see what goes on. All right, now I'm going to make some black oval shapes, and I'm going to give them a little stem like that. And they can stick right up in, almost out of the center like that. All right, now I've got little blue lines here. I'm going to outline them. And none of them are the same from flower to flower. And now, was this my plan? I had nothing planned for these other than I knew I was going to be inking them. But I'm just intuitively picking things out and deciding, you know, where I want to put some detail. I like that. All right, now I'm going to start outlining these petals. And I'm sort of picking which petal goes in front and which petal goes in back. That's definitely one in the back. Right here is one, but I'm going to work on this one first. And again, not necessarily am I going like coloring book lines. Now there's a white, do you see like a white line in there? And I'm just going to put some of these black marks shooting out towards those white lines. All right, I like that. So now you can see one done and one not, and you can see the difference. Good. Now I'm going to do one more. So I'm just going to, now that I've got sort of a design picked out, I am going to sort of keep going with that so that there is some cohesiveness. Here's those ovals. And those are just those pollen. I think they're the stamens. But Sometimes the paint gets up on your pen and you just need to wipe it off because it's dry. So it's just kind of like a crust on there. All right. Now I'm going to go around these blue parts. Let me know in the comments if you think this makes a difference. You won't hurt my feelings if you say no. And some of the differences really aren't apparent until you hold it in your hand. But they're there. Okay, I like that. Now I'm going to start the outlining here. I am trying to stay as best I can where you can see. And there. Okay, let's do a leaf and then see where we're at with time. So I did these kind of with these pokey marks, same as the ones that we did today. I like that. One more. We'll do one of the sprigs. And yeah, it's a little chunkier than maybe I would make if I was like just painting a a vase full of flowers. But I'm trying to keep in mind that we got to cut them out. All right, I like those. I'll tell you what I'm going to do with these two. I'm going to grab a white Posca, give it a shake. I have white in here, but I'm feeling like it's kind of lost. Let me charge it up. If your Posca seems like the color is watery, then you're just getting the binder and not the pigment, and you just need to shake it more. There. I like the way that did. Now I'm going to take my white again, and right where I made those circle dots, I'm just giving them an extra. And this isn't something that I can do and like have in a written formula. I'm just going by what I see. And it's layer, layer, layer. Layer of watercolor, layer of white, layer of black, and back to white, and just push, pull till I get what I like. But you can kind of see how that inking's gone. So if we want to get together again and keep working on the flowers and the leaves, let me know in the comments. In the meantime, please consider liking, subscribing. Let me know how this closer up format worked. I'll see you in another video. Bye now.